morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Manna. Happy Tuesday to you. Get your coffee and let's continue in our devotion through the book of James. Just a couple of verses today. We're going to look at James chapter 1, verses 13 through 15. It says this: When tempted, no one should say God is tempting me, for God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed. Then, after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is fully grown, gives birth to death. Now, there's really a lot going on there. I think that we all probably get the first part where it talks about that God is not the one who does the tempting. But we all have a kind of there's almost like this inherent thing that we do when something goes wrong for us. We say, why would God do this? I mean, I've said it, I'm sure you've said it. And it's a wrong statement. There are a lot of things that happen in our lives that God does not do. And though he might be the one who okays those things, he is not the one who presents that temptation, but he certainly does allow for those things in our lives. And we've seen examples of that all through Scripture. Job would be the one that initially comes to mind. But we see more along the lines of the idea of when we are tempted, what generally happens is that kind of happens when we allow ourselves to kind of be drawn away or enticed by the things of the world. And so the only way that happens is if you're not spending time with God, because when you become idle in your day-to-day life, you aren't in purpose. And when you're not in purpose, it's very easy to let your eyes wander, to let things get in your way. And before you know it, you're drawn in by temptation and then giving away into it. And then the last part is really what I want to touch on. The New King James says, when desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. Now that talks about this idea that sin is not a thing yet, just in the notion of desire. That when you're tempted by something, that's not sin. We're all going to be tempted by things. But once we allow our minds to wander with it, that's when James tells us that we're giving birth to sin. And then if you get into the depth of the text, it actually says this: then after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is fully grown, gives birth to death. So sin happens in increasing measure, and that makes sense for us because that's kind of how we're designed. No one starts off as a chain smoker. They just start with a cigarette, and then it just continues to progress and on and on and on and on. What's your devotion for today? Stay in tune with God. Remember that God is not the one who brings temptation into your life, but that the more in tune you are with God, well, you're still going to be tempted, but you're going to be better equipped to deal with that temptation. So stay in your devotion life, up your prayer game. You're going to hear that a lot throughout these devotions because it's so important that we do that in our day-to-day lives. And here James is telling us that one sure way that we can avoid sin becoming real, birthing sin, is to be strong and ready in the face of temptation. And that's your devotion for today. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can be made aware every time we put out a new video. And go bless somebody else today. Go do something amazing for somebody else. Expect nothing in return and watch what happens in your life. We'll see you.